Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my series review now that it is over for The Walking Dead World Beyond. And possible spoiler warning if you guys have not seen Walking Dead World Beyond up to the end of the second season. So we have now seen the 2-season run for Walking Dead World Beyond. Want to go ahead and take a look back, do a review for the series. It's a limited run series, 20 episodes, 2 seasons, now that the series is over. So I will try to be as kind as I can be with this series review for World Beyond. And it does actually have some really good things about it once you get to the end. The problem with Walking Dead World Beyond, with both seasons, the first season and the second season, is they start off okay. I feel like for both seasons, you got the kids in the first season. Second season, you got some great stuff with the CRM and Elizabeth and these huge mega zombie herds and this kind of stuff, which is intriguing, is good for the second. The problem is, and you know, when you start watching a new show, you want to give it a little bit of time. You want to give it a chance. And in the first season, I feel like I was able to do that. A lot of you guys were too. But once we got a few episodes in, we started having problems to where it was like, oh man, this just isn't even worth watching or putting time into. It might be best to like skip through it or something like that. Now, I think the series ends off great. I think it has some great action sequences throughout. You've got some climactic fights, like the season 1 kind of finale fight between Huck and Felix is really good. I really like what they did with Huck in this series. One of the best characters. The season 2 stuff with Jadis, when she arrives in episode 15 or so for the last quarter, 15 to 20 in terms of the episode counts of the overall run, it's fantastic. All the stuff with CRM is fantastic in the show, I think. Especially by the time you get to the end. It's got some really great stuff. Jadis is awesome in it. Some of the fights are awesome in it. Seeing the helicopters and everything about the CRM in this is really good. And I think it does make it worth watching. We also get that final scene at the end with Jenner and everything. And that's really great. I've done some videos breaking that down already. France and kind of the start of the zombie outbreak and how that started revealing World Beyond. Really give World Beyond an up and kind of make at least parts of it worth watching. Okay, so that's the good. Now they tried to do something here with World Beyond that maybe is similar to like a Stranger Things, where we all know Stranger Things is one of the biggest series of the last decade or so, hitting on Netflix. It's got another season coming out soon as well. What season are they up to now? Is it 5, 4, whatever? Another season coming out. Even though it's been a bit delayed, but it's done very, very well. It feels like with World Beyond, that World Beyond tried to tap into something similar to that and try to do that with like Walking Dead. Ended up being a 2-season limited run for the series. And I feel like even though you do have some good characters, Jadis is awesome, even better than when she left. I think Walking Dead, she's even better in this than she was in original Walking Dead when she's, Anne and she's leaving and everything, even though she leaves with Rick. So there's some good stuff in it for that. The CRM villains are all awesome. Huck is really great. Now, here is the problem I have with Walking Dead World Beyond, and it is with the kids. Whereas in Stranger Things, I love the kids, and we kind of, at least for me, I kind of get to kind of experience Stranger Things from the viewpoint of Finn, from Mike's, I think his name is Mike, right? His viewpoint. And yeah, that's it. In Stranger Things. And it's got the nostalgia and it's got all that stuff. They tried to do something like that with World Beyond. And I think a lot of people are calling it Woke Beyond, that kind of thing. Because what they screwed up on, I think, is, and I know nowadays the progressive stuff is very heavily encouraged in media, right? As you guys know, we all know that at this point. And so, they want to have all their diversity stuff, and they want to have all that. You want to have, Felix being gay. You want to have the lead characters for the kids being female. For pretty much, like Silas is there, Elton's there, but Hope and Iris feel like they're more at the forefront. So the big problem I have with this is that you lack kind of a standard relatable character for a lot of your audience. The girls like this series, which is, you can imagine they would. Some youngins who check it out might like it too because they might identify with the kids. Although it's tricky because then they might not understand some of the more advanced CRM stuff, but that's probably okay. If they identify, they'll go with it anyway. The problem is I don't personally identify with any of the characters in this show. They don't have a Rick for me. They don't have a Daryl for me. They don't even have someone who would be like maybe a Madison or Alicia from Fear, or somebody, or Morgan, right, as well too, or Dwight or somebody like that. They don't have like a strong male lead that I would be able to relate to myself. We see Felix's backstory, and you can understand and everything, but I can't even imagine that parents would even do that, and I certainly can't relate to it because nothing like that ever happened to me. Maybe it does for some kids, what have you, whatever. I even relate better to Aaron from the original Walking Dead series than I do to a Felix like in World Beyond. So for me, if they would have maybe taken Elton and made him like the lead kid in the show, it could have worked better for me. Instead, they did that sort of with Hope and with Iris as well, especially with Iris too, who, it's just like, okay, fair enough, I guess if that's what you want to do. But it's definitely not something to where I can vicariously see myself in the situation or something like this in World Beyond. And that is the problem with World Beyond for me. It's not with the villains. The CRM's awesome. Jadis is awesome. All of them are awesome. The extra scenes of the World Beyond is good and everything. The problem is your protagonist in this one. Maybe Huck, in the end, is my favorite of all their different, even though she's kind of in between good and bad in this whole kind of deal. Felix, after that, maybe. And then with the kids, it's like, I don't really like Silas much. Hope's okay. Iris is whatever. And then maybe Elton's the one maybe that I like the most, but they didn't really put him at the forefront. They kind of put him in the background kind of thing. He didn't really get that much time. As you got into the second season stuff, they focused more on Hope and Iris. They didn't really focus much on him, and so that was a problem for me. So that said, 20-episode run. It's an okay run. Unfortunately, I do have to say that I think it's probably the weakest Walking Dead series that's been done so far. You got those 20 episodes. You got 2 seasons. Definitely the first 2 seasons of the original Walking Dead series are miles better than this one. And that was done like 11 years ago. 2010 was when the first season of Walking Dead started. So you have, you have a decade later to prep and get ready and then do another series. Typically after a decade, things get better. Typically they don't get worse. But in this case, the first 2 seasons of Walking Dead are miles better than this show, as far as I'm concerned, even though you have better quality equipment and all this stuff now, and CG and everything's gotten a lot better. I still think the original Walking Dead series, first 2 seasons, way better than this. And then even Fear the Walking Dead, which has been on a while now, 7th season, right? So, World Beyond, had a while after that too to build on the advancements that were made all these years for AMC and everything. And unfortunately, it just wasn't from the Heroes. It wasn't that great. CRM, yes, it was. Heroes, no, not for me anyway. Even Fear the Walking Dead, I would say a lot better for the first 2 seasons. You had Nick and stuff like that, and so different locations and stuff was cool. You had a lot more for me that I enjoyed in that than this, aside from this extra kind of stuff they've given to us, France and Janitor and other stuff. Okay, that's great. I just wish they would have used that earlier on in the series so people would have kept watching. When the series premiered, it got 1.6 million U.S. viewers. By the time the first season ended off, you were down to like 0.6. So, less than half its audience was watching by the end of the first season. And then the second season aired, around the same range, 0.73 million U.S. viewers. And then by the time it gets to the end, the last slide, I think it's around 500,000. So you go from 1.5 million to basically 500,000 by the time you get to the end of World Beyond. It's worth flipping through. It's worth some parts of it. But man, did they ever screw up with the team of heroes, the kids in this one for me. Did they ever mess that up? I even like the Z Nation heroes better than I like these. Just didn't work at all as far as that's concerned. But it has its good elements. Can I recommend it to people? If you want to, I can recommend the CRM. I can recommend Jadis. I can recommend all that stuff. That's worth checking out. Maybe it's a flip through, but or to the girls who like it, identify in that way, or maybe people who like Felix can identify with him. But that's about all I have to say for World Beyond, guys. Score for it, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think that's fair considering, even though it's got some awesome episodes in there, I know that a lot of viewers for Walking Dead, which have followed the channel for many years now, were okay when it started. They were watching it at the beginning, and then as you got into it, they were like, "This sucks," or they didn't stay. And the ratings prove that that's not that's objectively true. That they started and then they were like, "I don't like this that much." So, but it is worth flipping through for some good stuff. So that's my review for Walking Dead World Beyond. A mixed bag for certain, and unfortunately, something that could have been a lot better if you would have given me a character to identify with. If you like this review, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and subscribe at the bottom left if you're new. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another. As always, this is Trev. I'm saying peace there, guys. See you soon.